books. If you are not new here, you're probably like, this is a completely different filming setup, what is going on? And that is because I finally moved all of my physical TBR up to the second floor in my house. I finally decided that it needed to be kept separate and that I wanted to, you know, not put off making my own little library in my house. So eventually this room is hopefully going to be more like floor to ceiling shelves and everything like that, but for now we are doing with what we have. So I have all of these little cubby ones here. I have a book cart, and then actually over here, you can't see it right now, we'll get to it at some point, I have another bookshelf that was originally downstairs. So this video is a while in the making because it took me forever to pull out all the books that I haven't read off my shelves and then bring them upstairs. It was just, it just took so long, and I eventually lost steam and was like, I can't do this anymore. But anyway, today we are going to be going through my entire physical TBR for 2025. This is all the books that I had starting the year that I have not read. So any books that I have bought since 2025 obviously are not included in this. But we're going to jump right into it because this is going to take a while. It's like a while. So grab a drink, grab a soda, whatever, like some kind of caffeine. You're probably going to need it. I'm going to need it, but yeah. So we're going to start with the books that are on my January TBR that are technically 2025 TBR. That way I can keep them separate and not lose them in the stack. We have Agatha Christie's Passenger to Frankfurt, These Twisted Bonds, Frigid, the One Dark Window duology, which is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, Killer Instinct, A Court of Silver Flames, A Dangerous Duet, Daydream, A Touch of Chaos, A Gathering of Shadows, Asylum, and then there is still another stack. Don Quixote, Vow of Thieves, City of Glass, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories, A Conjuring of Light, The Principle of Moments, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Like I said, those are all books that are on my January TBR, so hopefully those will all be knocked off this physical TBR list by the end of the month. I have been making really good progress on it so far, so I am pretty excited about that. Then we'll just like go. I don't know. I have this random basket that I found and was like, this will be cute. We'll use this for some of the books. Maybe it'll hold more than I think it will. It did, but it still didn't hold as many as I wanted it to. So some of these are like, I'm trying to keep them categorized, but for this video, it might not be, but I think most of these are fantasy. So we have Furyborn and Kingsbane, The Grave Maidens, the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which is Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Feared, and Kingdom of the Cursed. We have a couple of Jennifer L. Armentrout books, A Fire in the Flesh and Light in the Flame. We have the last two in the Caraval series, which is Legendary and Finale. We have another series, which is Fate of Wrath and Flame, A Curse of Blood and Stone, and A Queen of Thieves and Chaos. A random Christmas book, How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. Lore, Rainbow Rowell's Carry On. This is just like a random thing I got off, I forget what it's called, Kickstarter, and Cassandra Clare was doing just like this fun little extra thing. So this is a Beautiful Shadowhunters and Denizens of the Downworld. So it's not really like a huge book, it just has like pictures and descriptions of the characters, but technically still needs to be read. Blood of Hercules, which I saw so much about at the end of last year, so I had to get it. Streams of the Dreamer, Rule of the Aura King, Lightlark. I'm realizing that the lighting here is very interesting and it's like making my books look very shiny, so I apologize if that's irritating. Ash Princess and Renegades. So tiny basket, done. Okay, where do I want to go from here? I guess we'll keep doing the ones that are on the floor. We have Broken Bonds, which is the beginning of a very long series, if I remember right. A couple Gossip Girl books. We have 3 of them in here. Gossip Girl, All I Want Is Everything, and You Know You Love Me. I don't know what the order for those is. The Princess Diaries, Ice Kissed, this little duology, The Ravens and the Monarchs, Bewitched, The Conductors, Nature of Witches, The Forest Where the Phoenix Sleeps, House of Marion, and Quicksilver. Then moving to the next stack, we have a bunch of the Vampire Diaries books. There's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 10 Vampire Diary books. I don't even know how many more are actually in the series, but I have 10 of them so far. Then we have this little series, which is Faded, Echo, Mystic, and Horizon. We have The Damned. I'm fairly certain that there's another book somewhere in here for this series that I also need to read. I just don't know where it went. The last book in the Twilight series, I never ended up reading it, so Breaking Dawn. We have the Marked series, which is Marked, Chosen, Betrayed, and Untamed. Opium and Absinthe. The Fates Divided, and Carve the Mark, both by Veronica Roth. I just am scared that I'm not gonna like them as much as her other books. So we have those. I guess we'll move into my book cart, which does still have some of my fantasies on the bottom. Here's the one that I was talking about, The Room. This is like in With the Damned. Book cart still has some of my fantasy books on it, and then more like literary fiction and historical fiction. We have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I was supposed to read this last year, but the size intimidated me, so I changed my mind. Sorcery of Thorns, Shadow and Bone. The first 2 in the Serpent and Dove series, Serpent, Dove, and Blood and Honey. Children of Blood and Bone and Children of Virtue and Vengeance series, Matched, Crossed, and Reached. Filthy Rich Vampire. The Obsidian Tower. Honor Bound and Honor Among Thieves. Still don't know if this is just a duology or if there's a third one that I just don't own yet. Beautiful Villain, Ordinary Monsters, and Door in the Dark, both of which I really wanted to get to last fall and didn't. Sticking with my fantasy ones for now, we have Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. This is a duology by Rebecca Ross, which is a River Enchanted and a Fire Endless. The Scarlet Odyssey. Dreams Lie Beneath, which is also by Rebecca Ross. The X-Hex and the Kiss Curse. And Dawn of Onyx. And also Last Tale of the Flower Bride and The Last Legacy by Adrienne Young. Now moving into some of my more literary fiction or historical fiction, we have a bunch of books by Louise Erdrich. She writes predominantly Native American storylines. So we have Tracks, Love Medicine, The Bingo Palace, and Shadow Tag, and then we have Drowned by, I don't know how to pronounce that first name, so we're not going to do that. Then we have The Grandmothers and The Girl in the Steel Corset. I Was Anastasia. Jurassic Park, which my partner at work got me, so I'm planning on getting that very soon because he managed to give me a first edition first printing, which is so cool. And then we have the 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna, Miracle Creek, and All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And up to the top shelf, we have 2 of the books in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. Imaginary Friend by Stephen, I still don't know how to pronounce his name. He wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower. The Editor, The Wishing Game, Golden, which I don't know if this is lit fic or like YA romance, Brooding YA Hero, Me Before You, The Book of Magic. I think the first one in that series is somewhere right here. It's Magic Lessons. That's a little duology or a series, I'm not sure. The Kite Runner, There, and The Glass Ocean. Then we have Pelican Girls, The Time Traveler's Wife, Fly Away by Kristen Hanna. Still haven't read a Kristen Hanna book, which is like I feel like criminal at this point. House of Trelawney, Hate List, and Big Stolen Marriage. So that is all of the books on my book cart. And now I have to put these all back. So put the books back on the book cart because last year I did not put things away as I went through the piles, and it was miserable trying to put them all away. And since I just finally got all of these up here, we're working on it as we go. So we'll go on to the stacks that are kind of like at the top of the shelves. This is kind of getting me back into some of my maybe like fantasy, YA, stuff like that. So we have If We Were Villains, My Dreams I Hold a Knife, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and then we have this little series, which is part of the Asylum series. I mentioned the first book earlier. I don't know why I'm over-explaining things. Sanctum, Catacombs, and a little book of novellas. We have The Reckoning of Noah Shaw. There's another one of this, and I'm not sure why it's not with this, so that's confusing. Book of Night by Holly Black, and The Atlas Six by Ollie Blake. Then we have this little series, which is The Merciless, and they're all just different volumes of that, so there's 4 of those. Here it is, The Becoming of Noah Shaw. Like I said, don't know why it wasn't with the first one. We have a couple Natasha Preston books. We have The Twin, The Cellar, Awake, and You Will Be Mine. We have the Heartwood box, Give Me Your Hand, Good Girl, Bad Girl, Spectacle, Good Girls Die First, Dead Girls Can't Tell Secrets, and Caught by Nightfall. We're gonna go to these books here because those are the rest, I think the rest of my fantasy and everything, unless if they're like special edition fantasies. We have Once Upon a December, Red Rising, Shatter Me, In an Instant, Kill Order, and Fever Code, which are both like prequels to the Maze Runner series, and the Gracie. We have some more Cassandra Clare books. We have Secrets of Blackthorn Hall, which was another one that was part of that Kickstarter project. And then we have City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. Next we have Wings of Fury, Fireborn, The Night and Its Moon, Daughter of the Siren Queen, and Daughter of the Pirate King, which I think is part of a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy, so I don't have the 3rd book yet. And Sisters of Sword and Song. And lastly, for up there, we have Seafire, Defend the Dawn, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, The Witch Collector, Wool and Rise, which is just like a little duology, and Masters of Death. So, like I said, it should be all of my fantasy books, unless they were special edition fantasies. I guess next we will do all of my romance books. And these are like 2 deep stacks, so this is gonna take a little bit. We have Always and Still Beating, If Only I Had Told Her, Better Than the Movies, She's With Me, The Do-Over, The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. I have a couple Nicholas Sparks books in through here. And then we have the Boys of Tommen series, which is Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, Redeeming 6, and Taming 7. My goal is to get through all of those this year. We will see. The Long Game, and Just Once. A few more Nicholas Sparks books. The Choice, Safe Haven, At First Sight, and A Walk to Remember. I was like on a kick where I was buying a bunch of Nicholas Sparks books at one point, and then I just never read them. Nora Goes Off Script, Ricochet, The Way I Used to Be, Not the Girl You Marry, The Marriage Game, Undercover Bromance, Vacation Wars, and Say You Swear. Then we have the 7-Year Slip. We have this little, actually this is part of a trilogy. I don't own the first book, so that's silly. Love and War and All In. Another Nicholas Sparks book that I forgot about, See Me. The Idea of You. I watched this movie last year with, what's her name? With Anne Hathaway, and I absolutely loved it, so I had to get the book. Even though I heard the book doesn't end the same, so that's probably gonna be really sad for me. Another Karen Kingsbury book, which is like Dandelion Dust. Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. Full Measure by Rebecca Yarros. What Happens After Midnight, and Kyland by Mia Sheridan. We have Hook, Line, and Sinker, In 5 Years, a couple Emily Henry books, Happy Place and Book Lovers, and then Every Summer After, Indigo Ridge, Love on the Brain, and The Love Hypothesis, both by Ali Hazelwood. I haven't read any of her STEM books, so hopefully this will be the year for that. Red, White, and Royal Blue, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and Night Shift. Oh, just over this way. 3 of these little books, they're called the Love Finds You series, but they're all by different authors and they're focused on different places in the United States, like different cities. So in Paradise, Pennsylvania, which is actually very close to where I live, in Sundance, Wyoming, and in Folly Beach, South Carolina. Never Never by Colleen Hoover. I don't want to hear it about Colleen Hoover, please and thank you. The Marriage Code, Ugly Love, another Christina Lauren, Dating You, Hating You, and My Life with the Walter Boys. Actually, I think that was the only Christina Lauren book in this pile so far. Ignore me. Float and After by Anna Todd, Archer's Voice, and Torn. Some Ellen Hildebrand books, The Identicals and The Blue Bistro. Really loved reading The Hotel in Nantucket last year at the beach, so I'm excited to continue doing that this year. We have Return to Midnight, Good Girl Complex, Funny Feelings, and then the first 3 in an Elle Kennedy series, The Deal, The Mistake, and The Score, which are all hockey romances. 2 of the Bridgerton series books, The Viscount Who Loved Me and Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, The Love of My Afterlife, and Unfortunately Yours. 2 books in the Daisy Hates the Magnolia Park series, which is Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. And we have a bunch of Lucy Score books. We have Rock Bottom Girl, By a Thread, The Dead Guy Next Door, Pretend You're Mine, Finally Mine, and Protecting What's Mine, which I think is like a little trilogy. Another trilogy, Things We Hide from Light, Things We Never Got Over, or Things We Left Behind and Things We Never Got Over. And Mr. Fixer-Upper. That's it for my Lucy Score books, I promise. And then we have some Elsie Silver books. So we have her first series, so Off to the Races, A Photo Finish, The Front Runner, and a False Start. And then Wild Love. So that is most of my romance, unless it's like dark romance or like mid romance where they're not good, fluffy contemporary romances, but they're not. Yeah, anyway. Okay, because we were just doing my romance books, we'll jump into, like I said, my dark romance and my like mid-level romance ones that, again, aren't the cutesy, fluffy romances, but they're not like full-fledged dark romance. So these you can actually see, so we're just gonna keep them on the shelves for the sake of simplicity. So the first one up here, we have My Fault, Your Fault, Our Fault by Mercedes Ron. We have the Twisted Love series, Twisted Love, Twisted Game, Twisted Lies. I think I'm missing one in that one. Pucking Around and Brutal Obsession. These are both like hockey romances. We have King of Pride and King of Wrath by Anna Huang. We have the All Souls trilogy, Her Soul to Take, Her Soul for Revenge, and Soul of a Witch. We have a bunch of the Emily McIntyre books, so Scarred, Wrecked, Wretched, Twisted, and Crossed. We have Guild, which is a part of a series by Raven Kennedy, and Mountains Made of Glass by Scarlett St. Clair. We have, all the way on the very bottom, we have the Mind F series, The Ritual and the Sinner. We have the first 3 books in the Zodiac Academy series, so The Awakening, Ruthless Fae, and The Reckoning. We have Lights Out, the first book in the Flock series, and The Fabric of Our Souls. Moving over to the next little cubby on the bottom, we have a bunch of Kate Robert books, so Neon God, Electric Idol, Wicked Beauty, Radiant Sin, Cruel Seduction, Midnight Dark Restraint. We have Promises and Pomegranates. We have Priest and Sinner by Sarah Simone, and then The Ever King. And then these are Vicious by LJ Shen and Pestilence. Then moving up to this one, we have a bunch of my Sophie Lork books. So The Heir, The Bully, The Rebel, The Spy, The Savage. There Are No Saints is up here, and There Is No Devil. And then over here we have Ensnared and Entangled, and then the second book in the Haunting Adeline series. Then we have a bunch of my special edition books, which I am gonna have to pull off the shelves because I have, obviously, the sprayed edges showing. So we have To Cage a God, A Fate Inked in Blood, and the Wren and the Holly library. We have of Jade and Dragons, and then the entire Stalking Jack the Ripper series, Stalking Jack the Ripper, Escaping Houdini, Capturing the Devil, and Hunting Prince Dracula. Moving down to the next shelf, we have this massive omnibus, which is Queen of the Damned, and the raccoon on the side is just so cute. It's the reason I bought the book. I know nothing about it aside from that. We have the Ever King and the Ever Queen. I already do have the indie version of the Ever King, but like I got these special editions. So we have A Dark and Drowning Tide, The Last Hour Between Worlds, The Stars Are Dying, Until We Shatter, and A Dark and Secret Magic, which is really cute and like fall looking, which I love. Moving to the next cubby, we have Till Death and Reign of Shadows and Endings. 2 books in the series, Rise of the Dawnbreaker and A Prophecy of Undoing, Bound by Gravity, and Curse of Shadows and Thorns, Language of Dragons, and The Courting of Crystal Keats. Down below that we have Mistress of Lies, Voyage of the Damned, Rise of the Cinder Fae, Air by Sabaa Tahir, and I'm so excited to get into her books, although I think I was told not to start with this one. If anybody knows the answer to that, please let me know. The Games Gods Play, Immortal Dark, and Spellcaster Wildcard. We have 3 more special edition cubbies. The first one up here, we have Goddess of the Water, Goddess of the River, excuse me, The Teller of Small Fortunes, and The Temptation of Magic, The Dagger and the Flame, The Crimson Moth, and The Unmaking of June Pharaoh. For this shelf is 5 Broken Blades and A Fragile Enchantment. Moving down below that, we have Darker by 4, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, and What the River Knows, The Darkness Within Us, The Night Ends with Fire, and The God and the Gumiho, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, For She Is Wrath, and Sleep Like Death. And on my last one, right at the bottom, we have a few more. We have The Gods Below, Sorcery and Small Magics, Fathom Folk, The Phoenix Keeper, The Girl with No Reflection, Long Live Evil, and Hamajang Lug. I'm not sure how to pronounce that first word, but that is all of my special edition books. Lastly, we have this entire bookshelf, which is pretty much just all of my mystery books, so we'll try to go through these really quick for you guys. We have Everyone Here Is Lying, Hunting Party, and Under Her Care, and Bright Young Women. We have a series by Robert Galbraith, which is J.K. Rowling's pen name. So we have The Cuckoo's Calling, The Silkworm, Career of Evil, and Lethal White, Library of the Dead, The Terminal List, and Mrs. Sherlock Holmes. A few Dan Brown books, Deception Point, Angels and Demons, and The Lost Symbol. Some Louise Penny books. We have A Rule Against Murder, Fatal Grace, The Brutal Telling, The Cruelest Month, and Kingdom of the Blind. Another Dan Brown book that I missed, which is Digital Fortress, and then Franchise Affair. And I know the lighting is abysmal because the light for the room is literally right there. I'm sorry. Old house, bad lighting. So maybe eventually we'll fix that when I turn this into a proper library. We'll see. We have The Turnout, Once and For All, Act of Betrayal, Need to Know, The Law of Innocence, Transcription, Overkill, The Perfect Marriage, and Shadowheart, Haunting Annabelle, Crimson Lake. This is like an arc, so the front's really weird looking. And The Girl in the Blue Beret, The Girl Beneath the Sea, Whisper Network, and The Negotiator. No Strangers Here, The Girl Who Played with Fire and What Remains of Her, The Book of Mirrors, Secret of the White Rose, Mary Rose, Among the Shadows, and Sharp Objects. We have The Shack, Going Dark, Falcon 7, and A Darkness Absolute. Moving down to the second shelf, Devil in Dark Water, Perfect Marriage, The Couple in the Cabin, Coworker by Frida McFadden, and The Last Thing He Told Me, The Ambassador's Wife, And She Was Gone by Lisa Joel, The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, The Priest's Graveyard by Ted Decker, Missing Presumed, The Marsh King's Daughter, and Sorority, The Yard, The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I'm not sure, but I found this arc in a little free library, which was fantastic. Katerina, and If I Die Tonight, Now May You Weep, Nancy Drew's A Curse, the first Hardy Boy book, which I just still haven't read. I have it for nostalgic reasons. You Are a Badass, which obviously is not a mystery anymore. This one kind of also veered into some of my lit fic and historical fiction at this point. The Skylark's Secret, Carrie Soto Is Back, and Buzzkill. On to the third shelf. Like I said, we are now in like historical fiction or lit fiction. We have Death Comes to Penbury, The Orphan's Song, and Bridget Clay. The Daughter's Tale, The Alice Network, Three Sisters by Heather Morris, absolute favorite historical fiction author, and Things We Cannot Say. The Woman in Red, The Gin Lovers, and The Indigo Girl. Seven for a Secret, The Note Through the Wire, Munich, The Secrets We Keep, The Woman in the Castle, and The Dutch Wife, Bloody and Scarlet Women, If You Leave Me, Everyone Brave is Forgiven, The Girl from Venice, and A Splendid Room. Moving down into the last two shelves, we actually get back into some of my mystery. Like, this is another mishmash of books, and you'll see why in a second. But first we have the Pretty Little Liars series. I didn't really know where to put these, so they're kind of mystery. So we have 12 books in that series. Written. We have some more Ted Decker books, A Man Called Blessed, Blessed Child, and Emmanuel's Veins. I know, what are we doing? Some more of my historical fiction. We have The It Girls, The Girl in the Blue Coat, and The Distant Hours, We Must Be Brave, Death in St. Petersburg, and Safe Passage. Some more random mystery books. 20 years later, I Am Watching You, Blink by Ted Decker, November Road, No, Top Secret, and Where the Forest Meets the Stars, Deadwater, Dead Jitterbug, The Associate, City of Exiles, and Bait on a Hook. And then we get into my, First Grave on the Right, and then we get into my Agatha Christie and Mary Higgins Clark books, which is sort of what started all of these shelves, and then I eventually just had to put stuff everywhere. So all of these are Agatha Christie books, NRM, So Many Steps to Death, A Caribbean Mystery, Why Didn't They Ask Evans, Hercule Poirot's Christmas, Towards Zero, Sleeping Murder, The Murder at the By-Carriage, Curtain, The Mystery of the Blue Train, Nemesis, Death Comes at the End, The Regatta Mystery, Murder in Retrospect, The Labors of Hercule Poirot, By the Pricking of My Thumb, Murder with Mirrors, Remembered Death, The Seven Dials Mystery, The Sittaford Mystery, Death in the Clouds, Double Sin and Other Stories, We Are Cracked, Endless Night, The Monogram Murders, Ordeal by Innocence, and The Mystery of the Three Quarters. Then we get into my Mary Higgins Clark books. We have The Lost Years, The Christmas Thief, The Anastasia Syndrome and Other Stories, All Dressed in White, The Cradle Will Fall, As Time Goes By, Let Me Call You Sweetheart, All by Myself Alone, Every Breath You Take, The Lottery Winner, All Around Town, My Gal Sunday, The Melody Lingers On, You Don't Own Me, The Sleeping Beauty Killer, A Cry in the Night, A Stranger Is Watching, The Lost Years, The Second Time Around, I've Got My Eyes on You, I Heard That Song Before, I've Got You Under My Skin, I'll Walk Alone, We'll Meet Again, All Through the Night, I'll Be Seeing You, The Cinderella Murder, Death Wears a Beauty Mask, and You Belong to Me. A couple more mystery ones that accidentally got thrown in with those because they were about the same size. Forever by Duke Devereaux, The Rooster Bar by John Grisham, and Kate Strawbone. And then lastly, on this bottom shelf, we have some of my classics that I need to get through, which takes a little bit. We have The 360 Years, The Hound of Baskervilles by Sherlock Holmes, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Othello, Great Expectations, Sense and Sensibility, The Brothers Karamazov, Pickwick Papers, The Grapes of Wrath, Oliver Twist, The Complete Sherlock Holmes, Catch-22, Les Miserables, East of Eden, The Turn of the Screw and Other Short Stories by Henry James, Fahrenheit 451, Emma, Anna Karenina, Robin Hood, and then Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Swiss Family Robinson, and then last three of this video, Tarzan, The Complete Fiction of H.P. Lovecraft, and this is a compilation of Jane Austen books. The only one in here that I don't have a standalone for is Northanger Abbey. So this technically is only like one. So we went shelf by shelf and added up all the books using my phone because last year I tried to just count straight through and I definitely got confused and got lost. So we used my calculator this time. We are at 588 books. Oh, my physical TBR. This is so bad. This is so bad. And if you were watching this and you had seen my one from last year, you probably had like a sense of deja vu because a lot of these are from last year, but I did do like a decent amount of book shopping this year, as you can tell. And then I was sent a decent amount of books, which I'm always so grateful for, but like, yeah, we're really gonna try to make sure to get through more of my physical TBR this year. My goal for the year is to make sure that 75% of the books that I read are from my existing TBR. That way I'm making a conscious effort to get through them and to be a little bit more picky about like DNFing books, because I think that'll also help me get through some of these. There are definitely some in this list that if I don't read them by the end of this year, I'm rehoming them because I know I'm not ever gonna get to them. So we shall see. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this whole video. I have a feeling it's gonna be a long one just because of how long it took me to get through all of this. So thank you so much for sticking with me through it. If you see any in here that you're like, girl, you need to absolutely read these first and foremost, please let me know. Let me know how many you have on your physical TBR, especially if it's anywhere near this number, because that'll make me feel a little bit better. But anyway, thanks so much again. If you liked this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in another one very soon. Bye.